Make the case, if you could, for opposition to the extension of the coronavirus regulations.
Sure. Well, there's several things being voted on today. So in terms of the roadmap, which the government wants to have end by the 21st of June, we think that could safely go more quickly than that. But the biggest problem today is the extension of some very significant draconian powers in the Coronavirus Act, which the government doesn't want to extend to June. It actually wants to extend all the way until October. And these are quite significant powers. They're powers, for example, for the police to be able to detain people indefinitely and to continue having powers to shut down events and so forth, all the way through till October. And I haven't heard a single good answer about why the government wishes to do that, given that the Prime Minister has said he wants to be out of all of our legal restrictions by June.
Just on that point, though, do you, Mr Harper, not try... The police would have a degree of discretion in those circumstances to use the powers, to decide when to and when not to. Do you not trust the police with that discretion?
Well, it's interesting that you say that. At the moment, the powers in the Coronavirus Act that have been used, my understanding is that in every case they've been used, the courts have ruled that they've been used unlawfully. So actually, these are very significant powers, which I don't think should exist. The government's own explanatory details to that bill says these are extraordinary measures that should only exist in very emergency circumstances. And we're supposed to be out of this emergency by June, according to the government. And I said, I haven't heard any reason why these significant powers should be extended until October. So I will be voting against those today, because I haven't heard any credible reason why we shouldn't. Clearly, they're going to pass. The Labour Party isn't. It's not even on the field of play on this very important issue. It's not asking the government any questions of any difficulty, and they're not even shouting from the sidelines. So, but some of us have to ask reasonable questions about what's going on. But clearly the measures will pass today because the Labour Party is going to support them. But I think these questions need to be asked, and ministers need to be pressed to give good answers about why they want to extend these powers all the way until October, when the Prime Minister says he wants to be out of these problems by the middle of June.
Well, what do you then make of the proposal, Mr Harper, to offer access, or to offer landlords the opportunity to restrict access to their venues on the basis of either a negative COVID-19 test or indeed vaccination? I suspect that you're not desperately pleased with that.
No, well, I mean, I actually agree with the Prime Minister, that is the Prime Minister of February, when he said that he didn't think there was a case for expecting people to show papers to go to the pub. And he said there were very significant problems with ethical, moral questions about this issue. And I've heard some heads of pub chains this morning set out some of those significant problems. The key way that we're going to deal with this issue is by vaccinating people. And we've already almost finished vaccinating with their first doses the top 9 groups who are most vulnerable, who account for 99% of those who died from COVID and over 80% of the hospitalisations. That's how we get out of this. And of course, the government has much to celebrate here. It's had a fantastic rollout of vaccination. It did a great job in procuring vaccines at the original point of this, and we're well ahead of any significant major country in the world. And I think that's something that the government should celebrate and take full advantage of it.
Mr Harper, we do have to let you go, but I just want to squeeze in one final question. We have seen huge amounts of state borrowing from this Conservative government, huge amounts of state spending and sectoral support. We are seeing, from your perspective, civil liberties being ridden roughshod over. I'm just wondering, are you still happy being a Conservative these days?
Yes, I am. I think the government took exactly the right measures to use its economic support to protect jobs and livelihoods through this emergency situation. Of course, it's going to mean that over time, we're going to have to rebuild the public finances and put them back. But actually, I've been incredibly proud of what the Chancellor has been doing in making sure the state uses its borrowing powers and its emergency powers to stand behind people and protect families, protect jobs and protect livelihoods and help people get through this pandemic and get out of the other side in reasonable economic shape. I think that's been the right thing to do. And I'm very proud of being part of a party that's delivered that support for people across the country.